It is my honor to bring to you someone who is an incredible American hero and someone that I consider a friend. He was a special guest on our Insider Insight series. His name is Victor Avila. Victor came on our Insider Insight series for our subscribers, and I immediately started hearing from our subscribers after the interview was posted that this needed to get out to the public. And we immediately posted our interview with Victor, both a portion of it on YouTube, the entire interview on Rumble, but to make it easier, we have the interview posted. It's free at davejanda.com near the top of the homepage. I encourage you to listen to that interview, and I encourage you to network that interview to anyone and everyone you know, because the information Victor presented you will never hear in the bought-off lamestream fake media. It's my honor to have Victor with us today, and unfortunately it commemorates a really sad anniversary. February 15th, 2011, Victor and his partner were ambushed by the Mexican drug cartels while they were serving in Mexico. His partner, Special Agent Jamie Zapata, lost his life. Victor was wounded 3 times, fought, and survived. He is an incredible author. I encourage you to get his book, Agent Under Fire, A Murder and a Manifesto. One would think that the federal government of the United States, and this occurred under Barack Obama and Joe Biden's watch, by the way, when they were attacked. One would think that the federal government would have embraced the family of Special Agent Zapata, called special attention to his sacrifice, that he gave his life for our country and for every American, and for also Victor and what he had sustained with his injuries. Instead, our government pushed him away and the Zapata family away. Victor Avila is a retired supervisory special agent with the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security investigation under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. ICE enforces federal laws governing border control, customs trade, and immigration to promote homeland security and public safety. Victor Avila has been recognized by ICE and the Homeland Security Investigations Office for his exemplary service and professional accomplishments while serving as a special agent in the El Paso field office. Victor served as an accredited diplomat and liaison conducting international complex criminal investigations in a wide range of violations such as narcotic trafficking, arms trafficking, human trafficking and smuggling, financial violations, commercial fraud, and counterterrorism. While on official assignment in Mexico, as I mentioned, Special Agent Avila suffered multiple gunshot wounds and survived a violent ambush by the Mexican Los Zetos drug cartel where Special Agent Jamie Zapata tragically lost his life. That is who his book is dedicated to, and the book is Agent Under Fire, A Murder and a Manifesto. It's my honor to welcome Victor Avila to Operation Freedom. Victor, welcome to the Operation Freedom platform.
Thank you so much, Dave, and thank you so much for your kind words. It means a lot, especially on this day. February 14th, Valentine's Day for me 10 years ago, took a whole new meaning because that's when I received the assignment that led to the following day on the 15th that led to this tragedy in Mexico. And so thank you for having me on to continue to share the story and especially to honor the memory of Special Agent Jaime Zapata, who paid the ultimate sacrifice in service of our country.
Victor, educate our listeners on the assignment and the ambush.
I was permanently assigned to the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City to the ICE office, now ICE HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, which is a division of ICE. We're the criminal investigators, and Jaime Zapata had been in the country just a little over a week. I had just actually returned back into the country of Mexico. I was conducting another investigation in the U.S., arrived on very late February 14th, into the office. It was a Monday 10 years ago, and got hit with this assignment that I was going to go meet our counterparts from the Monterrey office, our ICE agents, from the U.S. consulate in Monterrey, Mexico, to go pick up some equipment from them. We weren't afforded any briefing, the customary things that we do, especially in Mexico at that time, because of the insecurity around the country. We weren't afforded time to brief. I wasn't aware of a lot of things that was going on. My supervisors and others in the office had already been doing this for several months, actually, accommodating the pickup of this equipment. Somehow I got selected, and they said, you're going to take Agent Zapata with you to help you drive, because they wanted that equipment by the next day. I challenged the assignment because we were aware of the intelligence of the Zetas cartel in that corridor, which is Highway 57, the main artery highway from Mexico City driving up north towards Texas. We knew there was they control that area. My counterparts, the ICE agent in Monterrey, said that yes, absolutely, it's very dangerous. They are having firefights with the cartel is having firefights with the military, the police on the highway. And, unfortunately, my supervisors ignored that. Even the U.S. Embassy had already put out an alert through the ambassador's office prohibiting anyone from driving, any U.S. personnel from driving on that highway for either personal reasons or business reasons. I challenged all that, and, the famous words that I will continue to quote from the deputy attaché, which is my supervisor's supervisor, said he wasn't aware of any security issues in Mexico, and I need that equipment by close of business day tomorrow. So at that point, we were shut down with all our requests, or at least my request, and started making arrangements. Met Jaime Zapata that afternoon, February 14th, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We exchanged phone numbers, and I asked him to meet me at my apartment to leave February 15th morning at 6:30 in the morning, which we did. And we headed off, made contact with the ICE agents about 6.5 hours later, picked up the equipment from them, and we're returning back to Mexico City. After lunchtime, around 1:30, 1:45, I gave Jaime the keys so he could take over driving the way back to Mexico City as I was working on my BlackBerry and other issues, and also to get Jaime accustomed to the armored vehicle. We were driving a 2009 armored Suburban, which he had never actually driven an armed vehicle before. There was no training back then. Now, of course, it exists, but it would give him an opportunity to get more acquainted with the weight of the vehicle. It weighs almost 6 tons, and the open road would be actually a better way for him to get accustomed to the braking, acceleration, and stuff like that. And so we head off, and within 15 minutes of him driving, we get basically blocked off by 2 SUVs full of armed gunmen who are Zetas cartel. We don't know this at that time. They force us off the road to the right shoulder with AK-47s. They block us in, force us off the road to a complete stop on the right shoulder of Highway 57. We come to a complete stop. They get off, surround the Suburban, and, a lot of commotion was going on. I was yelling at them that we were Americans, that we were not who they thought that we were. We were U.S. Embassy employees. We were U.S. diplomats. This was a diplomatic vehicle. To take a look at the license plate on the vehicle. I'm screaming this at the top of my lungs in Spanish with our hands up the whole time. But these guys just had evil in their eyes. They kept us just ordering us to get out and get out. At one point, one of the shooters happened to open the door, and I'm talking about actually swung the door, Jaime's door open. Jaime was able to shut it back immediately, and we started hitting the lock buttons and inadvertently lowered my window on my side, the armored window, about 2 inches. Without us, we didn't know that had happened. And throughout the commotion, the screaming, there was one shooter that kind of took the lead of that squad, that hit squad that they call them. And I was yelling at him. I asked him, let me get my diplomatic passport so I could identify myself, and just yelling and screaming. And eventually, without notice, 2 of the shooters, one introduced an AK-47 and a handgun right by my head, by my window. I raised the window, caught the barrels of both guns, and they started wiggling those guns, trying to manipulate them. I tried to get them away from them, but without notice, they opened fire into the cabin of the Suburban, striking Agent Zapata several times. hitting me three times. And in the middle of all that, somehow after they stopped shooting, they pulled the guns out. I completely raised the window, and they shot over 100 rounds at our Suburban, destroying the Suburban. We tried to escape. I was able to put I remember I'm in the passenger seat. Agent Zapata became unresponsive pretty quickly, and I put the Suburban in gear. I helped him push his leg onto the gas. We were able to crash their SUV that was blocking us in, trying to get off the X, as we call it in law enforcement, to get back on the highway to try to escape. But the Suburban just basically crossed the highway into the median, and that's where it ended up. And we stopped there. The two SUVs left. One of them made a U-turn, came back. Two shooters get out with AK-47s, look at me right in front of the hood of the Suburban, and they just sprayed the front windshield. And I, at that point, was thanking God that that ballistic, the front windshield was stopping those rounds from coming in. They get into their SUV and leave. We were on that highway for 40 minutes before any help arrived. I called the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City. I called the head of our vetted unit for the Mexican Federal Police, who was able to dispatch a helicopter to rescue us and send federal police officers that we would be able to trust at that point. As you can imagine, it was very difficult to deal with the corruption in Mexico, as it is to this day. But at that point, I didn't trust anyone, so I only had certain people that I wanted to talk to and try to control that information. And they were able to send people that were going to rescue us rather than finish us off. And eventually, 40 minutes later, we got rescued, taken to a hospital nearby a town there. And shortly thereafter, the doctor, Jaime, was taken to one trauma room. I was taken to another. And shortly thereafter, one of the doctors came out and told me that my partner had passed away. I asked him to treat him with dignity and respect. They did not know initially that we were U.S. federal agents. They assumed that we were Mexican federal agents because I did not identify myself on purpose. I feared for my life more, I think, at the hospital than I did during the shooting, because these cartels, that's what they do. They go and finish people off if they know that there are any survivors. And so I was very terrified at the hospital that my safety would be compromised through the doctors or some of the staff. Eventually, the federal police was able to surround and secure the hospital, and they eventually got me out of there to Texas in the middle of the night. Then my family got extracted, and that's a whole other story that continues. And I write about this in the book in detail. I just told you the story in a quick form here, but in the book I really go into detail. I think it's important for people to understand what I was doing in Mexico, our assignment there as agents are to this day, protecting our homeland and eventually our sovereignty that I think is in danger.
Folks, we're speaking with Victor Avila. I encourage you, deplore you actually, get the book, Agent Under Fire, A Murder and a Manifesto. And as I mentioned in your introduction, Victor, as opposed to being embraced by the government, by the federal government, by the Obama administration, Joe Biden and the like,